alleged abuse of power from Colorado State's own ASCSU.
Then we will take a look at how the weather this week has caused on-campus testing centers to shut down for a few days as the cold rolls in.
All that and more on CTV, starting now. Good evening, Rams. I'm Kenneth Frederick.
And I'm Weston Hubbard. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on CTV.
Our top story tonight, controversy in the ASCSU over the last few weeks. There have been accusations by several senators claiming that the executive branch has been abusing its power. One senator even went as far as to say that the branch is non-inclusive and failed to represent diversity. But is your student government racist? It all started last week when Senator Fields spoke about her opinion on how the ASCSU has not represented students of color and how the executive branch needed more checks on its power. This was during a debate over a bill which would place a check on the executive branch's spending abilities.
I know emotions was brought up earlier, but I, as a human being, it's inevitable that I feel emotional about these stuff. So I have no issue with conveying my emotions about this issue. I want to put that out there. So we are talking about how people are not following through with their correct procedures. People are not showing up in the way that they need to. But twice we've seen that exec isn't doing it either, right? Time and time again, people have abused and manipulated their power with an exec. That's why exec has looked the same since 2008, all white-bodied individuals, right? So if we're talking about the abuse of power, let's talk about the fact that we are not doing things that are appropriate and we are not being diverse and we are not being inclusive. Let's talk about that. The moral of the story is this is something that needs to be passed from my perspective, because it will ensure in the future that people will be held accountable for not being the actual leaders they proclaim themselves to be. I yield. I know emotions was brought up earlier.
The comments made...
I, as a human being, it's never...
Excuse me. The comments made by Fields were called out as ad hominem by other senators, which means they were comments about someone's character or appearance rather than the validity of the argument. Executive Chief of Staff Jasper Sloss commented on Fields' discussion, saying that parts were dangerous and disrespectful, explaining that at the beginning of the conversation around the bill was civil, but it turned to a less constructive place when Senator Fields stated that the executive branch had been run exclusively by white people for over a decade.
I appreciate that conversation. I thought it was, for the most part, elegant and thorough and covered kind of all the bases. At one point, it did turn toward race, and considering that I don't believe race was especially a part of this. I want us to be really careful of how we utilize that conversation. When it's thrown around that people are doing things or hold positions just because of the color of their skin, one, it seems to be a dangerous and disrespectful conversation, and to me is personally hurtful. That was just really hurtful for me to feel like, one, that was implied, or even that conversation comes up when we really should be talking about a conversation of balance of powers and how we utilize student fee.
It all came full circle when an official statement from the Senate was released to respond to the remarks that were made during the discussion of the bill, making claims that the ASCSU has deeply rooted racist problems.
The actions that were taken and the words that were spoken last Senate session and in the subsequent days were horrifying. And equally as harmful was the lack of action and the words unspoken by our Senate leadership team, myself included. It is no secret that this space was built by white men for white men, and whether the intent is conscious or unconscious, this space contributes to white supremacy and systemic racism. It always has. But that does not mean it always has to.
They went on to say that they would take steps to ensure that ad hominem speech wouldn't be tolerated in further Senate meetings. Proposals like taking away speaking privileges and even expulsion from the Senate were proposed punishments. We reached out to Speaker Christian Dixon for comment, but have yet to hear back. We'll be sure to keep you updated on the situation as it changes.
According to source.colostate.edu, a recent report showed that due to the 3 campuses that are run by CSU, it alone helps us 23,000 jobs and $237.74 million in state income and sales tax revenue annually. These numbers come from a study which showed off other numbers, such as 1 out of every 25 degrees people have from within the state come from CSU, and how 112,250 CSU system alumni working in the state earned an estimated $7.57 billion from their jobs in 2019. This study was ran by Dr. Rebecca Hill, a faculty member of Agricultural and Resource Economics, and Drs. Harvey Cutler and Martin Shields of the Economic Department. With numbers like these, it shows that CSU really does take pride in their school and the graduates that they are putting out in the world. Now let's give it down on to our live reporter Samantha Medley to hear about a new tuition decrease for CSU students.
Thanks so much, Weston. Colorado State University has announced that there will be a 30% decrease in tuition for non-Colorado residents for the 2021 summer session.
The CSU Board of Governors decided in their last meeting earlier this month to officially decrease tuition costs by 30% for out-of-state degree-seeking undergraduates.
I wouldn't have been able to come here at all if it weren't for the scholarship that I got that lowered the out-of-state tuition to the in-state level. And so that was pretty limiting in my options of college because I really wanted to go out of state, but obviously it's a lot more expensive. And so I think it just made the whole process a lot more stressful than it needed to be. It's really good that they're making an effort in the first place to kind of accommodate for our out-of-state students, rather than just saying, oh, if you're out of state, then like good luck. But now I think there's a lot more opportunity for out-of-state students to come during the summer that they wouldn't have had before.
The university is hoping this cut in cost will bring in more students to enroll in summer classes.
I was not planning to take any classes over the summer, but as an out-of-state student myself, I might just have to jump on that deal. Back to you guys.
I'm really glad that they're getting the opportunity. I know that I came from a community college, so there was definitely a price increase, and I'm glad to see that CSU, with everything going on, is willing to do this for these students.
Yeah, I think it's really fair to the students that, in a time like this, that tuition should go down.
I'm 100% in agreement with you. Yeah.
Well, the requirement of mask use on Fort Collins public transportation services like Transfort have been required since the pandemic. But a federal regulation has now mandated masks on all public transportation. The new regulation comes from the Transportation Security Administration and not only lays out compulsory mask usage, but also guidelines for what is and is not a mask. Under the mandate, masks must cover both the mouth and nose. Types of masks that are not allowed include scarves, bandanas, shirts pulled over the mouth, masks with damages like slits and/or holes, and a few other types of PPE. For a complete list of prohibited masks, you can go to ridetransfort.com. Failure to use a mask that follows guidelines can result in people being removed from public transportation and, according to the TSA, even a possible fine of anywhere from $250 to $1,500.
A trial following a disappearance that occurred in 2013 has now been postponed 2 weeks due to an exposure of COVID-19. The ongoing trial has been focused around Dante Lucas, who is being accused of committing first-degree murder. His pregnant girlfriend, Kelsey Schelling, disappeared in 2013 and she never turned up. Evidence pointed towards him being a suspect with the trial having begun. The 6th day would have began, but someone in the courtroom has reported an exposure to COVID-19, and therefore the trial has been postponed. CTV will keep you updated with the case as long as we can get it coming along.
The Colorado State University Pandemic Preparedness Team sent out an email to faculty, staff, and students late Wednesday afternoon, notifying all that the screening pods would be closed at both Moby and South Campus. This is due to the extreme cold weather that is expected to roll into local Fort Collins area. The COVID testing sites will remain closed from Thursday, February 11th through Monday, February 15th. Weather has also delayed the opening of the satellite screening site located at the Foothills campus, which is now expected to open on Friday, February 19th. However, the Mac Gym screening site will remain open as normal. If you're looking for more information on their hours of operation or how to schedule an appointment, their website is covid.colostate.edu.
Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back with the weather report, Find out if the cold weather is coming or going.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hello CSU Rams, thank you for tuning in tonight. My name is Nina Morales and I will be your anchor for tonight's weather segment. The current conditions tonight are looking a little bit cold. If you have been tonight, you probably know that. It is looking like the weather is at 10 degrees and it feels a little bit colder due to the high winds over here. Overnight lows look like they're going to be very low over here on the east side in Burlington, Lamar, and Sterling. Things are getting really, really close to 0 degrees. Over here on I-25, things aren't looking much warmer. And over here on the west side, it does look like they are getting the warmest side of all of the weather. Tomorrow's highs are looking not much different from what we are getting today. Sterling, Burlington, and Lamar is still looking at a very, very cold day. Over here in Fort Collins, Denver, Colorado Springs, and Pueblo, it is not getting much warmer, unfortunately. And over here on the west side, they are again getting the warmer side of all of the weather. Tomorrow's forecast doesn't look much different from today's. Just like today, we are having a high of 10, and the night is going to be very, very cold at the low of -2 degrees. The weather does look like it's going to be a little bit cloudy with the wind just like today at 8 miles per hour. And the sunset will be at 5:31 p.m. So if you would like to go see a nice sunset, go ahead and look at that. The 5-day forecast is right here. On Friday, it looks like it's going to be at 10 with a -2 as well. Saturday, it looks like there might be a little bit of snow rolling in as well as on Sunday. Monday, it looks like it's going to be a little bit warmer with a little bit of sun peeking through. But Tuesday, unfortunately, there's going to be a little bit more of clouds, even though it's going to be a little bit warmer. Thank you for tuning in. Up next, we have more news with Kenneth Frederick and Weston Hubbard after this short break.
Yo, Scott.
Hey.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long.
You know, I think I'll just...
Dude, are you okay?
You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
Smart man.
Did you see how that dog was looking at me?
Welcome back, Rams.
There's more news to cover, so let's get right into it. For the first time, CSU will be having its annual International Symposium completely online. The 2021 International Symposium is a 2-day virtual event where the Office of International Programs brings in speakers to talk about international issues. The 2 keynote speakers of the event this year are George Guajardo, and who was the Mexican ambassador to China, and Ryan Crocker, who has a long history in the global community and is now a diplomat in residence at Princeton University. Crocker plans on talking about the future of diplomatic relations and what they'll look like for the new Biden administration. All of the events in the symposium are open and free to the public, but if you want to attend, you'll have to register for them on CSU's website.
April 9th is looking to be an unfortunate day for a couple residents of Estes Park. The last 13 residents of the Estes Park Health Living Center are going to be looking for a new nursing home, as the current one is now closing down. According to the Coloradan, the Estes Park Health Board of Directors took a vote at the beginning of this month for its closure, with a decision to move forward with it being due to decline in revenue, especially with the COVID-19 outbreak. However, the facility has gone on record saying they will not fully shut down until every resident is placed in a new home, regardless if it happens by the shutdown date or not. Now let's go over to our live reporter Morgan Gardner to hear the latest information about how CSU is celebrating Black History Month.
Thanks, Weston. Black History Month is a time to celebrate Black excellence, scholars, histories, and movements. This month, here's what you can do to get involved with BAC, the Black African American Cultural Center, and celebrate and amplify Black voice all year long.
This is BAC, the Black African American Cultural Center, one of the 7 social diversity programs and services here at CSU. BAC looks to create community and safe spaces for people of color and Black students on campus, and provide resources for those in need.
Our most important resources that we have here is mental health. Our office is very focused on ensuring that our students have access to mental health resources, as well as access to a trained professional who identifies as Black or a person of color, who can better understand the realities of what it's like to be a person of color or a Black person on a predominantly white campus. But other than that, we have a ton of resources for students to go to. We have the peer mentoring program that connects freshman students with upper class students in order to learn how to really navigate the university system. In addition to that, we also have anti-racism resources. These just include different ways to get involved.
During the month of February, BAC is also celebrating Black Voice with many COVID-safe programs and events.
At the moment, we are doing our National Pan-Hellenic Council Week.
This Meet the Greeks Week celebrates Black sororities and fraternities on campus and highlights the achievements of many.
We are also having our Being Black and series, which have to relate specifically with identities.
For more resources about BAC events and programs, or if you're looking to connect with BAC, look no further than their website, bac.collegestate.edu, and their Instagram at @bac_CSU. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you so much for that, Morgan. Fort Collins PD has been working on a new program to help out with a certain type of emergency, mental health, and we've got all the details that you're going to need. Given the circumstances of 2020, mental health issues may be on the rise in the United States. Fort Collins Police Services are prepared to help. Hey everyone, I'm here at UC Health. Every single day they help a ton of people, including with mental health. And even though mental health cases may feel like they are on the rise, that does not mean that you need to feel down. The police services have created a new team, the Mental Health Response Team, which is a combined effort of 2 Fort Collins officers and a UC Health team. Members of the team include community paramedic Julie Bauer and a community program coordinator Stephanie Bucco, while officers Chris Bland and Annie Hill will be joining to help as well. Through the program, the goal is to help reduce the need for unnecessary involvement of things such as emergency rooms for people who are suffering mental health issues, and instead give them the correct care to help the situation. In addition to this, all Fort Collins officers are receiving training for mental health responses, and several are certified under the nationally recognized model of behavioral health, the CIT. It's good to see that the right help is coming to those that need it. With the Fort Collins Police now having a new prepared team with great resources, we can all hope that the handling of mental health cases can take a positive spin very soon.
Tuesday night, City Council discussed its proposed new Climate Future Plan. The plan has set many goals, such as using 100% renewable energy, reaching zero waste production, and becoming a climate-resilient community. The program is special in its focus on equity for Black, Indigenous, and other people of color. The city is attempting to do this through several ways. BIPOC and other historically underrepresented groups' needs are at the forefront of the council's plans. To ensure this, members of multiple ethnic communities will be invited to be plan ambassadors who will be able to share their opinions on the actions taken by the Climate Future Plan. Jackie Kozak-Thiel, Fort Collins' Chief Sustainability Officer, spoke on the importance of making sure that the changes to come would be positive for everyone.
You will see equity woven throughout the plan and this presentation tonight in terms of engagement process, approach, and the outcomes that are about ensuring everyone benefits from a carbon neutral Fort Collins.
If you would like more information on the city's future climate plan, the full draft of the plan is on Fort Collins government's page at citydocs.fcgov.com.
A judge recently ruled in favor of a Fort Collins man, Adam Weimold, with defense alongside the ACLU after he received a ticket back in 2018 from the city for sleeping in the back of his truck. The judge stated that there would be many reasons why Adam would have to sleep in the back of his truck rather than a shelter, and was recorded by saying that it would be unconstitutional to punish people who have to sleep outdoors. As of now, there is no decision on whether the city intends to appeal this ruling or not.
The W.M. Keck Foundation has awarded $1 million to a CSU research team that's studying a new angle on a 200-year-old biochemical principle. The lead investigators are Claudia Boot, Rich Contant, and James Henriksen. They'll be looking into something called L-glucose, which is an extremely rare sugar found in the ground. This also comes with the news that the research team has conducted soil samples all across CSU's main campus and discovered bacteria that are able to use L-glucose in every one of their samples. Boot said that this research would be groundbreaking and a different way of understanding metabolism and how energy flows through organisms. Well, Rams, that's all the news we have for you for tonight.
Don't go anywhere. Cameron Evig, filling in for Brendan Fairbairn, is up next with the news on CSU basketball and the latest on the Blitz.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back.
When you want to talk, I'm here.
How's it going, Ram fans? Welcome back from the break and to another week of The Blitz, Season 2. I'm Cameron Evig, filling in for Brendan Fairbairn on desk to get you caught up with everything that happened over the last few days in the wide world of sports. Tonight, we'll be taking a look at the driving force behind both CSU men's and women's basketball, and then finishing things out with some trade buzz out of Seattle. So with that being said, let's get right into it. As the 2021 college basketball season has gone on, both of the Rams basketball teams have been on fire, sitting atop the conference standings, or for the Lady Hoopers at Fort Collins, at number 1 in the Mountain West. And none of this will be possible without the two sets of dynamic duos propelling these squads forwards and putting up points in waves. Let's start with the duo of sophomores that's leading Nico Medved's young squad to the best program start since 2016, Isaiah Stevens and David Roddy. Averaging close to 16 points per game over the course of the season and over 18 in his last 4, including a monstrous 27 points over Boise State 2 weeks ago. The 6'5" Roddy has been the rock for the Rams on the inside, posting up defenses with pure strength and high-flying blocks. Also popping a 3 every now and then when the defense is caught sleeping. Acting as CSU's best statistical option in terms of getting to the line, scoring, field goal percentage, rebounds, and blocks, it's clear to see the consistency that the second-year forward from Minnesota brings for the Rams every night. And how could we forget about the quarterback of Medved's offense and the guy who's second to Roddy in the most meaningful stats, points guard Isaiah Stevens. With his lightning quickness and ability to stop on a dime, something we saw last year with the game winner against Nevada, the reigning Mountain West Freshman of the Year is able to drive and kick to create wide-open looks for guys like John Tajay, Adam Thistlewood, and Kendall Moore. As the leader of the squad in minutes, assists, and unfortunately for Ram fans, turnovers, Isaiah's impact on the game, no matter the night, he just has a bit more control when it comes to passes and ball handling. And now on to the Lady Rams. We would not be talking about Ryan Williams' team without taking a look at his two top offensive players, Lauren DeVos and new recruit from Seton Hall, McKenna Hofschild. Hofschild has been proven to be a worthy signing for CSU, putting in 14 points a night and dishing out a total of 94 assists this season. Even though she's only 5'5", Hofschild's ability to get to score in the clutch and to get to the free throw line has really helped the Rams get to their 14-2 record atop the conference this season. She's coming off one of her most dominant performances of the year against rival Wyoming with 22 points on 9 of 10 shooting. And if she continues breaking ankles, look out for this squad come March. And last but not least, we got veteran forward Lauren Devos as the best scorer, 3-point specialist, free throw shooter, and rebounder for the Rams at 6'1". Devos brings a skill set that complements the slashing style of Hofschild very well. The deadlines of this duo was on display against the Cowboys when they both scored over 20 on different nights to lead CSU to victory. Looking towards their next matchup, the women will compete against a 9-2 New Mexico team tomorrow afternoon, while the men look to a series on the road against the Nevada Wolfpack next week after their 2-game series against the New Mexico Lobos got canceled due to COVID-19 complications within the New Mexico men's program. We'll have to see how these teams continue to shape up as March gets closer and closer. And now switching it up from college and into the pros, star Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson shocked NFL fans when he talked as honestly as he ever has in his last 9 years in Seattle to voice his displeasure with the team's personnel decisions. On Tuesday, he told reporters that he's frustrated with how much he's been hit in the backfield as the franchise guy for the Seahawks. Let's take a look.
You never want to be sacked that many times. 400 times up basically is way too many. 400 too many. So I think that's a big thing that we got to fix. That's got to be fixed, and has to be, at the end of the day, because my goal is to play, 10 to 15 more years.
All of this comes after the Seahawks lost to the Rams in the NFL wildcard game 30-20, and Wilson was sacked 5 times. Since entering the league in 2012, Russ has been sacked 394 times, the most in a player's first 9 seasons since the NFL and AFL major. Don't go anywhere, because we got Tom Isaacson after the break for entertainment.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Good evening, Rams. My name is Tom Isaacson, and tonight I have got all the best news in entertainment, so let's roll on into it. Now, is anyone at home a fan of classical music, string quartets, and all that jazz? It's not actually jazz, but it is the Colorado Symphony. A symphony who, like many other musicians and businesses, have been having some issues with COVID-19. However, back in December, they received an anonymous $2 million donation. With this, the CEO stated they could continue to pay employee salaries and health insurance all the way till the summer, where outdoor concerts might be possible. If anyone would like to donate to the Tom Isaacson Irresponsible Spending Fund, be sure to hit up my Twitter handle. Now, something really exciting that came to Denver this last week was the Sundance Film Festival. The film festival, traditionally held in Park City, Utah, did satellite screenings of the titles in the competition at 20 different locations, including Denver's Film Sci Center. The films screened in Denver were specifically chosen for the Colorado crowd. Many Fort Collins residents have sent in films and gotten awards at the Sundance Festival in years past, so it's pretty cool seeing how it come here in some way. Now, many travelers and new residents from bigger cities may notice that Fort Collins is missing something, which is no laughing matter. Well, actually, it is, since what we're missing is a comedy club. I sat down with David Rodriguez to learn more about Fort Collins' newest edition.
For nearly 30 years, Fort Collins Comedy has been hosted at general venues, ever since the last comedy club closed down.
There was one here where the Cooper Smith's pool hall is. It was there in like the late 80s and closed in the early 90s, I believe.
But that all changes with the Comedy Fort.
Ever since I started producing shows here, about 6 years ago. They've all generated a great response.
David Rodriguez leased the old Hody's Half Note and transformed it into a traditional comedy space, but in the middle of a pandemic?
There's positive aspects to doing it now that we're like a year in. Everybody kind of knows the drill. Everybody's used to masks. Everybody's used to staying apart. Everybody knows the kind of protocols and what we have to do.
The idea, according to Rodriguez, is to home grow local comics and create a landing for fresh talent.
I would love for it to run the gamut of all time.
Unfortunately, Rams, we are just a little bit short on time, so that is going to do it for us tonight. But tune in next Monday for the sports show. My name is Tom Isaacson, and you're watching CTV 11. Good night.